what's really interesting to me as you were talking about media is like, obviously, media is not reporting on revival, 99.99999% of the time.
Yeah.
However, it seems that, though that may be the prevailing narrative in the natural, for those who are believers in Jesus, that is not the actual narrative, that there is actually people here in California. When I say people, I'm not talking 10, 20, 30 people. I'm talking thousands of people who are filled with the Holy Spirit, who are preaching the gospel, running businesses, taking care of their families, pastoring churches, who are on fire for God and who are willing to not bow, but stand against the plans of the enemy in California. And so I would say that's really marked me, is seeing God's people and the hunger of God's people here in California.
Right. And there's a noticeable difference from when you guys started. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'll just say before Joel pops in there, I just didn't even know it existed. Maybe not necessarily before it started or when we started going. I was just like, I didn't know. And so when you don't know and you find these people, your heart just comes alive and you're like, absolutely. Oh God, you're doing something so much bigger than I even thought. It's so much bigger than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely stuck out to me too. I think early on, and part of my story too was coming out of a lot of disappointment and discouragement. And then obviously the lockdowns and everything happened in 2020. And it was kind of the exclamation mark on that whole season for me. And, you start to feel at times like I'm the only person that's carrying these promises over California, like I'm the only one, there's nobody else. And, but I think we soon found out as we started to go, and I didn't know that's not true entirely, but you feel that way sometimes. But that's definitely been a pleasant, I think, realization as we've started to go, like Ross is saying, literally all over the state, there's pockets and there's groups of people that are so hungry. And so I think for me, I'm like, man, what would happen if we united? And I think that's our heart in these gatherings and these events we're setting up with California Will Be Saved. Like, what would happen if we, came together in one place in a public setting and confessed our faith, to the world. And with volume, we began to raise a voice to Jesus, the King of Kings, and I think that's our heart in it. So that's definitely been a big thing for me too.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, I think there's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately is, especially when we see things start to shift, is this big aha moment I had recently was like, it's not just like, even if I cared about this thing and I was sitting there interceding over it for, say, even a handful of years, it's not just my prayers. It's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of prayers over multiple generations praying. And I was just partnering with all those prayers that have gone up to heaven for this thing. And the same with you guys, it's like someone else's prayers. You're the fruit of someone else's prayers. And it's like, people who like maybe went on to be with the Lord, but they never stopped interceding over California. And God was like, Ross, Johnston, Joel, Mott, they're my guys. They'll carry out the answer of this prayer from some grandma in, Sacramento or something. I don't know. And I think that's a really cool thing. Like, it's not just, it really isn't just about us, and it's like all you guys are doing is just partnering with heaven. And it's a fulfillment of years of prayer, and there's so many other people down there that are doing the same thing.
No, I'm glad you said that. You have to keep that mentality and that understanding, and it keeps you humble. It keeps you, fearing the Lord. It keeps you fearing his story that he's writing. And it gives you that, helps give you that proper perspective of what we're doing right now, in this window and this life that we've been given right now. It's so true. Like, how many prayers of our fathers and mothers and spiritual grandmas and grandpas, that have paved a way and even dreamed of some of these things that we're starting to see. So,
it's like a crazy time in history,
Absolutely. I'll just say, like Joel's saying, just a little bit different language. We're standing on the shoulders of the giants who've gone before us, the giants in the faith, the generals in the faith. You know, we had this moment where, and this was for a specific gathering, but I believe it's actually bigger than that specific gathering, where the Lord spoke to me, follow the generals. And I think the Lord was really prophesying like, hey, in this season, yes, be passionate, be bold, dream, but don't forget, like Joel said, that there is people who have prayed for maybe 50, hundreds, who knows how many years, that maybe they never saw what they wanted to see, and they're in heaven right now. But the truth is, the Lord has given us by his grace the ability to step in to these prayers, prophetic words, and just the decades that people have laid down. And so it is a fear of the Lord and a humility thing, because it's like Joel says this all the time. This isn't some Gen Z cool new idea. This is God's plan to take worship and the proclamation of the gospel to the streets. And there's people that have laid their lives down for the sake of intercession and prayer, so that we would have the ability to do what we're doing.
Yeah, come on.